Everybody, good morning. I'm super excited to talk about one of the things I'm most passionate about, helping investors keep their money, right? Eliminate capital gains taxes. And that's what the 1031 exchange does. So we're going to roll right through this because we got a lot of content to cover today. But first, before we get started, I wanted to share some facts that are kind of interesting, that 34% of all households are rentals. And when I first heard that, I thought, gosh, that seems like a lot. It's about a third of all properties in your neighborhood is a rental. But here's the cool thing, though. The average landlord, when you find them, owns 3 properties. The average. We have some clients that have 15, 16 properties all over the country. We have one of our members in our community that had found somebody with 2,000 properties that they want to transfer to their kids. So keep in mind, this is a huge market. It's also a market where it's not going to be tied to an interest rate, or it likely won't be tied to the economy. And we're going to talk more about that. So the first question, though, is what group owns this, right? Well, it's not the 20 and 30-year-old. It's probably not the 30 and 40-year-old. This group that owns investment properties today, the vast majority of them are baby boomers and their parents. Believe it or not, 50% of all listings that NAR tells us is a baby boomer, right? So know that this market is filled with your listing inventory. Your opportunities are here. The other thing you're going to realize is that most of these people bought them a long time ago, and they have no debt. They have no mortgage balance. In fact, when I asked that question, so that's one of your tips, right? When you go to a listing appointment, what's your mortgage balance is a question you want to ask. And it's so funny that most of my clients laugh at me when they ask that question. They say, no, Dad, I paid that off a long time ago. That's right. And you want to hear that because when they sell, they're buying in cash. So they don't care about the 6 or 7% interest rate because they're buying in cash. They're buying equal to or greater than, and they're buying in cash, right? They're also on a time frame, right? There's a strict time frame for a 1031 exchange that they must abide to, which means they're going to close in 180 days at the very least, but typically within a month or two, right? And they're also a reason why they're considering this is they're concerned about their kids, right? They're concerned about their kids fighting. Right? How many of you have heard of a family fight over real estate after mom and dad died? Anybody? Anybody? We all have, right? If you've been breathing long enough, you know somebody that's fought over real estate after mom and dad died. Well, the 1031 exchanges allows them to divide real estate. See, because the reason why the fights exist is they believe that they can share it. They believe that they can share real estate, and you cannot share real estate. It's impossible. The only way to share it is to sell it and divide it and allow them to predetermine their inheritance. And that's the conversations that we build around in our group coaching class as well as our community, is how do we elevate your knowledge for this demographic that owns the amount of real estate wealth to help them transition that wealth, because that's what they want. They want to find a way to transition that wealth so that their kids don't fight. So some 3 simple tips in securing listings with investors. Number 1, you want to understand the opportunity. Number 2, you want to define their goal. And number 3, you want to create a plan. That's the simplest route to your next listing, right? To helping that investor understand what they could do. So what's the opportunity? Well, the first question you want to ask everybody in your database is, do you own any other properties? You know, when I go to a lot of listing appointments, and about 10 years ago, I started asking that question. Do you own any other properties at the listing appointment? And most people don't ask that question. I didn't for the first 8 years. Ask that question. But what I found was a vast majority of them did, and they didn't know what to do with them. I became their consultant. I became their real estate planner to help them plan the transferring and building wealth for the next generation. And the beautiful thing about that is now you have more than one level of client. We've got grandpa, grandma, we've got their kids, and we've got their grandkids. We have 3 generations of clients all in that one conversation. Right. So either do you own any other properties, or who do you know that owns investment properties? So those are your quick tips to the question to reveal qualifying clients whoever you're talking to as to, can you help them build, protect, and transfer wealth, right? So where do you find them? A lot of them are already there. They're in your database. They're in your database. And if you were to call your clients and ask them that simple question, how's your home going for you? Because you know where they live, if they're in your database, right? The next question is, do you own any other properties? And then if they say yes, what is your plan for that? Right? Oh, I don't really have one. So would you like a plan? Right. And then you get them to the appointment. Your goal is to get the appointment. Once you get the appointment, your next goal is to get the agreement. It's simply 2 steps, right? Get the appointment and get the agreement, right? So most people make it too complicated. This world of real estate, they think too much into it. And I'm here to tell you it's not that hard if you focus on 2 things: getting the appointment and getting the agreement. Once you get that, you have a robust listing inventory, right? Because imagine if you could have 10 appointments a week, just 2 a day. If you had 2 listing appointments a day, what would it do to your business? It would incredibly enhance your business. I'm telling you that, that's what I live. That's our goal, is 3 a day. So I can get 15, right? And I'm going to move some of these on now, and we're going to move some of these down in the pipeline down the road. Okay. So where do you find the investors? In your database. Just ask the right questions, right? Open houses, right? For those of you who work open houses, we have anywhere from, I'd say, a couple, 2 to 3 to 6 to 8 open houses every Sunday, right? We've got signs. We got 60 signs out on the road every Sunday, right? And so that's your goal, is to use your current listings to get more listings. You know, Gary always says in the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, every listing should generate 3 pieces of business: the listing you're selling, a buyer, and a seller, right? And if you put that intentional mindset on how you're going to get more business, that's one way to do it, through the open housing. Direct mail is another one. We actually have a system that we can actually help you with, PropStream, that can get you addresses, phone numbers, and emails of people who don't live in their homes, which means the investors, right? We even do seniors that are investors. You could do seniors that have multiple investment properties and direct mail to them. So we send out mailers every month, and that mailer generates calls and listing appointments because people have a problem with their property, right? Door knocking as well. Here's another one: administrators, executors, and personal representatives. Who are those people? Oftentimes they're attorneys, sometimes not. Many will be trust companies. Could be banks, right? The trust company in the bank. And then trustees, people who are already named trustees. If you can imagine, we used to get calls from people. One week I got 3 calls from people that said, I wanted to sell my property. My mom and dad passed away. I'm a trustee. I don't know what to do, right? So we started a class called I'm a Trustee, Now What? And we teach that class. There's 21 things you need to know as a trustee. They come to these classes, they want to sell their property. So think about, what kind of honey can you put in the world, on the globe, that attracts people to you? That's what you want to focus on. And that's what we've done. So I do 3 seminars every month in the 18 days that I'm home. And we generate anywhere from 5 to 8 listing appointments. Well, 5 to 8 strategy sessions with people that have 2 to 6 properties each. Right? So you can imagine the pipeline of business that you can generate when you focus on this level of business. Allied partners are CPAs, financial planners, trust attorneys, right? Because the wealthy have all of these 3, and you want to get into business with them. So that's your question to anybody you know: who's your CPA, who's your trust attorney, and who's your financial planner? And you want to get those names, and you want to call them, and you want to take them to lunch, and you want to ask them if they're looking to build their business. Are they looking for more clients? And then you want to learn more about them, right? This is how I built our business 18 years ago. Over the generations that I've done this, is I'm very curious. So I'm asking experts what they do, and I'm telling them what I do. And then we create relationships that we have some attorneys send us, one or two a month of listings, right? Seminars, as I mentioned, we're real big on that. And pretty much everywhere you go, a third of the population is going to be an investor. Think of it that way. So here's a simple plan on defining the goal. What's your goal in owning it? So when you talk to once you find an investor, this is your conversation. What is your goal in owning it? And then what are they going to say? Well, I bought it because I wanted to have retirement money or vacation money or college education. What you're also going to find when you ask that question, what's your goal in owning it? They never bought it. It was given to them. We're on the largest transition of wealth in America with $70 trillion are going to be transferred in our generation now. 70 trillion, the most the world's ever seen. And a vast majority of that is in real estate, right? Because people are passing away, and the people that are passing away have a lot of real estate. Who does it go to? Their next of kin, right? And so these people that have these properties know that they didn't intentionally buy them. Most of our clients, they got it as a gift from their parents or their aunties and uncles, and they don't know what to do with it.
Good afternoon. This is a message for Holly. Hey, Holly, it's been a couple months. How are you doing? I just wanted to check in.
I think I'm going to have to mute somebody there. Thank you. So the next question is, do you need the income for the investment property to sustain the life you desire? This is a deep question. Most realtors won't ask that question, right? Because it doesn't seem to pertain to getting the listing. Well, it really does, because it goes in one of two ways. There's only two answers, right? Yes or no, right? If it's no, then ask them, you want to learn more about their family. If they don't need the money to sustain the life they desire, then what are they going to do with it? Right? So learn about their family, their children, right? I asked them, so tell me about your kids. Who's the oldest? What's his name? Is he married? Does he have children? Does he own his own home? Right? Do they have investment properties? And I go to the next child. And by that whole time, you're going to hear the sentiment coming from a parent's mouth about their children and about who they love and who they don't. Well, they love all their kids, right? So do I, right? Although you'll find that some of them have some favorites. And that's kind of funny to listen to, right? So you'll learn that, and then you're going to learn, if they could buy their property, would they? That's your magic question. If they could, would you? If they could own their own home, would they? If they could own their investment property, would they? If they could buy a property for their son or your grandson, would they? Anytime you get a yes, you got an appointment. Okay? It's that simple. Now, let's just say they say, when you ask, do you need the income from the investment property to sustain the life you desire? They said, yes, I need it. My first question to them is, how is it performing? Now, when you ask that question, they're not going to really know what the answer is. They're going to say good, right? Everyone is good. Well, what does good look like? Oh, Johnny, he's been my tenant a long time, 25 years. He's a good guy. He takes out the trash. He does this for me. He does that for me. But how's it performing financially? See, if they're making the decision because they need the income, the question is, how's it performing? And you should measure that asset like any other asset, like a stock, bond, or otherwise, right? By the rate of return. So we do a thing called an asset performance test. An asset performance test is a cash-on-cash analysis and a cap rate analysis, right? It's that simple. You can do that. And when you show them that their return on their investment's low, the next question is, if you can make more money, would you? And if the answer is yes, you show them how they can make more money. You can show them another asset that generates, let's say they say, what's common on our market is 1% to 2% is what they're really getting. It's really low. And they don't even know that. And then I show them, well, I can get them 3% to 4%. And I showed them, like, well, mathematically, if I made you $1,500 a month, would that be a good thing? See, I'm asking the question that always ends in yes, all right? I'm already getting to the close. So in the conversation, it's strategically important to know the question to ask to get you down the road to the goal of, I want you to list my property for me. And then when you do that, you have a seller and a buyer. Okay? It's really that simple. And your magic question is, if you could, would you? right? That's as simple as it gets. If you could, would you? And their answer is going to be yes. So if they could bless their kids today, would they? Yeah. If they could make more money with their property, would they? Yeah. You see how easy it is to get to that appointment? Now let's say that you want to start creating a plan, right? So the person that has making the emotional decision, your question is, if you could help your kids today, would you? What would that look like? Where does Johnny live? What kind of home does he need? My first question is, does Johnny have a job? See, if Johnny doesn't have a job, you're buying that in cash because he can't get a loan. But if Johnny can get a job, and let's say you sold a $500,000 a unit of property, and Johnny wants to buy a $600,000 property, you can then sell your property for $500,000, buy something for $600,000, co-own it with Johnny. Johnny takes a mortgage out for $100,000. You're gifting him the $500,000, but you're not gifting it to him yet because it's in your name. And that's how you defer capital gains tax. You keep it in your name until you die. You change it in your trust that says, upon my demise, it goes to Johnny. So when he passes away, when you pass away, Johnny gets a step up in cost basis, which means the cost basis goes from when you bought it at very low to what it is today, very high. And there's no capital gain tax. This is how you eliminate capital gain tax. We create plans for people to build, protect, and transfer wealth such that they keep all their money. See, because capital gain taxes, ladies and gentlemen, is the #1 enemy to generational wealth. There is no other enemy greater than capital gain taxes to generational wealth. And this is a conversation we teach you. This is a conversation you should be having on a regular basis to elevate your business, to attract the wealthy landowner, property owner, so that you can help make good decisions. They can make good decisions. If it's a financial decision, what does your end goal look like? Sometimes it's appreciation. Sometimes it's cash flow. And sometimes it's depreciation. Because see, if you own a property, it's an investment property that you've had for 27.5 years, you don't have any more depreciation left. What that means is you're paying the government 20% more money than you really should. So if you want to make good, smart financial decisions, you're going to keep that in mind, right? The depreciation, because that is a part of building wealth. Right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it on a calendar. So I basically take out a calendar, a 8.5 by 11, looks like a regular calendar you see on somebody's wall. I take 2 to 3 months of that and I lay it on the table and I walk them through the solutions. So what is it going to take you to get on the market? Oh, I got to declutter the property. I got to fix up these things. I got to clean it. I got to stage it. All of those things you lay out on a calendar. What did you just do? You just made you made their entire process simple and easy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you get listings. Make it very simple and easy for someone to see that you have the experience and the resources to get them to their goal. You're gonna get listings, right? Simultaneously, as we put that calendar together, we're going to start talking about the replacement property. We're going to look at what their goals are. We're going to look at the types of property, the neighborhood, and we're going to go look for it, right? We're going to go find that property. We want to have an idea what they want before they even go on the market. You see, I've done close to 400 1031 exchanges. I've never failed one. Never failed one, 100% successful. I don't know that many realtors that can say that have done that many with that success. When you do this properly, clients will know that you know what you're doing, and they're going to tell their friends. They're going to tell everybody that they know, because most of the people that come to our classes, almost inevitably, one person says to us, I wish I met you sooner because I paid a lot of capital gain tax when I sold my last property because my agent didn't educate me on a 1031 exchange. My agent didn't talk about capital gains tax, step up in cost basis or carry over in cost basis. In our fast track class, we're going to teach you all of that. So the opportunity is, the investment properties are a burden. They're at an age in time where the roof's getting old. They don't want to put more money into it. So what do? They want to sell it, but they don't want to pay capital gains taxes. In fact, they go to their CPA and the CPA tells them, don't sell the property because there's this thing called capital gain taxes. What the CPA doesn't tell them is there's this thing called a 1031 exchange. And 1031 exchange is the most underutilized tool in real estate in America today. I travel the country quite often for the last several years, and I teach these classes. And I've never heard anybody says, there's other people doing this. If you want to build a bulletproof business, you're going to want to learn and master the 1031 exchange, because that will always be something that will get you listings, right? And then help them create an inheritance plan. Most people don't even know that you can do such a thing. Plan ahead so that the kids don't fight, right? What's really good about this opportunity is when they decide to sell their property, which doesn't have a mortgage, they're a cash buyer instantly, right? And then you can put strong offers in. You're going to win more of these offers because you're going to buy something, right? And it's going to be in cash. Right? And you've got a motivated buyer that has to do that. They can't say, oh, well, let me think about this. No, they've got a time frame by which they have to do that. Right? So is it a good time to do a 1031 exchange? Yes, if you want to upgrade or increase your portfolio. If you want to relocate that asset, right? If you want to exchange to a lower cost or lower maintenance type of asset or property. If you want to exchange to a higher cash flow market. What we're seeing today is we're seeing a lot of older adults seeing that there's low cash flow. And if they want more money, they're selling on the coastlines of our country and Hawaii, anywhere near water, the land is more valuable, right? And they're selling them and they're buying in the middle of the country where the land is cheaper, right? And that's what we're seeing a lot of today because their net return is higher in areas like that, right? They're exchanging for poor condition properties for upgraded ones because they're at a point where they don't want to fix it, right? They're exchanging land. Land has typically no income. Generally speaking, land has no income, right? And so that's a negative asset. A negative asset is not an asset you want to keep. A negative asset is something that you pay to keep. It's kind of like saying, I got $1 million and I'm going to put it on the shelf, and every month I'm going to pay to keep that shelf alive. No, that shelf should be generating you money. You shouldn't be paying it to keep it alive, right? And so conversations like that will help. And then creating a legacy for your family while you're alive, right? For those who are starting to see there's a baby boomer movement now that there are more recognition of the fact that their kids might fight when they're gone. And we're getting more and more baby boomers and their parents coming to us and saying, I got to figure this out, right? And then also possibly increasing their depreciation schedule if they're out of depreciation. So, So the benefits for the 1031 exchange to the owner is you're going to defer and or eliminate capital gains tax, right? You're going to remove the burden for the property for the client. You're going to provide a legacy plan for their family, and you're going to eliminate the family dispute. For you as the agent, what's the benefit? You're going to find motivated sellers and buyers. Typically, that client is not emotionally attached to the property. It's an investment, right? They didn't live in there for a long time. They're not attached to, all the memories in it. Also for the agent, you're going to get 2 transactions at a bare minimum. At a bare minimum, you're going to sell one and buy one. Sometimes you're going to sell one and buy 2 or 3. And then also you're going to have a strong motivated cash buyer with a time frame that requires action. So in closing, this is our fast track class. If you have your phone, you may want to take it out, click on the QR code. If you'd like to learn how to secure listings with the wealthy, we broke that down into 4 weeks, 4 one-hour classes. It's $199 a flat fee. And to understand the opportunity with the wealthy older adult, second week will be learning how to become the senior relocation specialist. What are the steps to becoming that? We're going to walk you down the journey that we took to be that senior relocation specialist in our market. Learn how the 1031 exchange, A DST is a Delaware statutory trust, right? That'll help you get listings. And legacy planning can grow your business. Lastly, you're going to gain knowledge of wills, trust, and probate. There's 2.1 million older adults that are going to die this year. 80% of them own real estate. That's 1.68 million listings that will likely be a trust sale or a probate sale. And if you have knowledge enough to attract that business, you're going to get it. Okay? And this is what we do. This is the model that we built a $100 million business on. This model right here. We run a community called the Real Estate Planner, and it is a licensed real estate agent who is certified and has the knowledge, training, and experience to compassionately guide a real estate owner in ways to create generational wealth, minimize taxes, and facilitate the goals of the family. And that's my content, and I'm just out of time. Do we have any quick questions here? Oh, look at that. You've got a 15% off on the group coaching class. So take a look in your chat and click on the QR code down in the bottom left here and sign up for that group coaching class. And we'd love to help you. Any quick questions? I'm actually 1 minute over. Well, the recording, yes, it will be emailed to you, the recording. You're going to get this and you can keep listening to it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So
Stacey.
1031s are only for investment properties, not for
Yes.
primary residence, right?
Yes, correct.
So if you live in a property, but if you want to do an exchange, you need to make it a investment property before, right?
Well, there's two ways to do that. You can use two tax codes, Internal Revenue Code 121, which is your 250,000 tax-free dollars per person on title, 500 for a married couple. That's Internal Revenue Code 121. The 1031 exchange you could also use in conjunction with the 121 under two situations. One, that you move out of the home for 2 years and rent it. The other is if you had multiple units in the home, so that you can that's called a mixed use property. You live in one and you rent the other on the same tax record.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
offer free surf lessons for every referral. I
Thank
say,
you.
keep me in the water, please.
Okay.
Anyways, I gotta run. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Look forward to seeing you in the class. Start soon. When does that start? It starts November 1st. So look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.